Let's talk optimism. So, optimism. A couple of concepts I want to throw out there for you. Optimism versus skepticism, right? That's kind of the yin to the yang, the positive to the negative. They both have their place. They both have their value, okay? So one isn't right or wrong. So I just want to be sure that we're clear on that, because I think it's important in every organization to have people whose default setting is optimistic and people whose default setting is skeptical. I will tell you that in the times that I have run major organizations, I have thrived in relationships with a skeptical partner. I'm naturally wired to be optimistic. I need somebody who's also pulling me back a little bit, going, here's all the ways it could go wrong. They're not incorrect. And I'm not always right. But today we're talking about optimism. Optimism is offense. And that's why it's critical for any business. Let me tell you a little bit of a story. I've got 3 young kids, and my oldest is getting pretty good at playing some sports, playing some games. She gets involved in some things at church, that kind of thing. And she's really good at playing defense. And in fact, her teacher in her school, who coaches another sport, came up to us at a parent-teacher conference and said, hey, when am I going to get your daughter on my basketball team? I watch her play defense in the schoolyard for recess, and we want her. We need her defense abilities. But what I've begun to teach her is you're never going to win a game just playing defense. You have to also play offense. A business must execute on offense. That's why there's no standing still for a business. If you ever walk into a boardroom with a business, or if you ever sit down with business partners, and the big goal for that business is to maintain, I promise you, the end has already begun. The end is already started. Because what they're trying to do is stand still. They're trying to maintain. They're trying to capture this moment in time. Everything's freaking changing. Not sure if you noticed. It's all changing. You don't get to stand still. You must keep moving. You're going to keep moving. You can either choose, and it's a choice, and this is why it takes energy. You can either choose to move forward in an offensive way, in an optimistic way, or the default will be backward in a negative way, in a skeptical way, in a defensive way. How do we defend our territory? Well, if you're busy defending, I will find holes in your defense. The best defense is what? Exactly. Offense. Offense is optimism. You've got to be optimistic about what the chances are of winning a new client, winning new territory, winning a new deal, developing that new product, opening up a whole nother line of service to open the doors to other clients and other customers and other B2B, whatever it might be. All requires optimism. Let's take it another layer. It's the difference between being of abundance and living in fear. Now, hopefully for some of you, that's a moment where you realize, yep, that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a place of fear. See, when you're in an optimistic space, when you're in an offensive space, it's not about how do I steal everybody else's. It's how do I build this thing that we're looking to build? Not in a take it away, but in a generate it, create it, produce it way. And when we're in that space, in that energy, we attract great things. We attract great people. If you're waking up every day in your business and your only thought process is, how do we keep from losing more clients? You're coming at the whole thing from a place of fear. A fear of loss. I'm going to ask you to make a choice. If you are a leader of a business, if you're a leader of a part of a business, you have to find ways to spend time being optimistic. Even if your default setting is skeptical. You've got to find ways to be on the offense, even if your default setting is defense. We've got to come from abundance. Just because you lost a contract today, right, doesn't mean there aren't more out there to be had. You're not going to win by just tearing other people down. That's not how it works. Win by building it up. Just focus on what you're building and be optimistic about it. Now, I want to take all my optimists and all my skeptics and all of my offense people and all my defense people, and I want to get you grounded into one other thing. Reality. The biggest threat to somebody who is really optimistic is when they get kicked in the teeth by reality. Reality is just an is thing. Reality is not open to opinion, let's say. If it's open to opinion, it's not a reality. It's just a perspective. It's not a ground level truth, right? The economy is either shrinking or growing. It's not really open for opinion. It's just an is thing, right? More houses are being sold or less houses are being sold. It's just an is thing. They either happened or they didn't, right? You either have more legal clients now than you did 6 months ago, or you don't. You either have more properties that you're managing, or you don't. You're either producing more frickin' widgets, or you aren't. This is what we call getting grounded in reality. Do the homework to know where you are. You got to know where you are, right? The great sports people of our time and of the times before us, they did not ignore what the scoreboard looked like. They knew what the score was and how much time they had left. They knew it. But it didn't mean that they suddenly became fear-based. It didn't mean that they suddenly were negative on the potential outcome. They still moved from an offensive place. They still moved from a positive place, from a place of optimism. Because that's how they won. They just didn't ignore what reality was saying. Reality is saying you're behind. Reality is saying right now, when we recorded this, we were nearing the end of the first quarter 2019. You are either on track or not for the goals that you set for the beginning of the year. Period. End of conversation. I like to ask the question this way for my coaching clients. You are either on track, ahead, or behind. Which is it? There's no emotion in there, right? There's no opinion in there. Give me the facts. Now, where are we going to go? We know where we are. We know where we want to go. What is our offensive approach to how to get there? Let's think about this just as a review. Optimism is a positive. You don't get positive without negative. The polarity, right? The science thing. So you want to have both in your organization. You want to have both healthy and the tension of the two in your organization, but you got to lead with optimism. You got to lead with abundance, not fear. You got to lead from the offense. Nobody's winning this game by playing defense for 60 minutes. Nobody's winning this game by playing defense in their business or their career for the next 30 years. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So what I want to challenge you to do is figure out where you are now. Where is your organization coming from, driving from, moving from now? Look back over the last 6, 12 months. Have you been an optimistic-based organization, or have you been an organization based in negativity? Or have you been an offensive-based company, or have you been defense? Here's an easy way to break that down. Are you about going out and getting more clients, or are you just trying to keep from losing the ones you got? Which is it? Where do you focus your time and your effort? That's just a reality check. You can look at the time and energy and conversations spent on, and you can discern, just as fact, are we offense or are we defense? If you're the leader of your organization, are people afraid to tell you what's going on? Are they afraid to give you the feedback that you need to hear? If so, somehow you, yes you, Billy Bob, yes you, Sarah, you as the leader have created that environment. But Brad, I just got hired as the new CEO, I've inherited. Hey, if you've been on the job 2 days, you've had at least 1 day to fix it. It's on you. We got to get this sucker right. Are you coming from abundance as an organization, or are you coming at it from fear? You got to figure out where you are. That would be interrogating the reality of your organization right now. You got to figure that out. Interrogate that reality. Discern where you are. Then make a choice. Where are you going to head? Are you going to continue to head in a positive direction down those railroad tracks? Or are you going to move backwards in a negative direction, in a direction of skepticism, in a direction of fear? Are you going to play defense? Remember, there's no standing still. You stand still on a railroad track, all that's going to happen is you are going to get run over. That's what happens. I know. It's been a light, fluffy conversation. Welcome to leadership. This is what it looks like. Okay? It's called taking on the responsibility. For some of you, if your natural wiring is a skeptical side, it will require extra effort and energy to gin up the optimism. I encourage you, if that's you, if I'm talking to you today, you need to partner with somebody who can help you with that. It could be a coach, it could be a mentor, it could be the key number 2 hire. It could be any number of roles that person could play in your world, right? But you got to bring that person into your world. You really do. And like attracts like at times too. So if you are that kind of person, you may find that there are some people that you spend time with now that you need to start spending some less time with now. You're challenged to lead. You have to do it from a place of optimism. It has to be offense. Hope this has been helpful for you. We really love having you engage on the Knowles Development Podcast. If you ever have a suggestion of something you'd like to have us dive into, or somebody that you'd like to have us interview or talk with, we're happy to do that for you. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.